Hey guys, I am Lana. This is from Corporate Crystals. We are back for another video. In today's video, I wanted to have a conversation around the collective shadow that is quite visible. Excuse me, and this is not to this is to draw awareness to it. Because once we have awareness of it, we can expand, we can transmute it with the collective consciousness, and then this energy can shift. Okay, so we all need to come together and be the change we want to see. And the only way to be that change is for us to see it. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the shadow that is going on actively within the United States. Okay, and this is not to shame anyone. We all have been at various stages of awareness throughout our journey. But I need you to have an open mind as we navigate this, because if you live in the United States, it has become culturally appropriate and traditional to participate in certain events or activities. And our media promotes these entertaining events. The media perpetuates information to keep it front of mind. So it's not anyone's fault, but what is happening is if information isn't readily available for people, they dismiss it. Or if only a few people are talking about the information, the people will dismiss it thinking it must not be important, or that person must be crazy or whatever, right? So we have to do our due diligence and take responsibility for our own critical thinking, our own awareness. And in this specific situation, our collective really needs some help here. And so just have an open mind so you can take responsibility for your own awareness and do with this information what you want, okay? Okay, so to start, over the last handful of months, we have had a lot going on as a collective. One of the large genocides that is going on right now is in Gaza. And there is a large quantity of people who have been killed, men, women, and many, many children. In Gaza, they have had all of their hospitals bombed, their churches, their schools, their shelters of whatever kind. And there's so many refugees who have fled to other places. And now other places like Rafah, which was just occupied last night after being bombed, a bunch of refugees fled there, and now that territory is now under attack as well. Okay, so this is something that you need to do your own research on, because it's not going to be readily available on the news right now, potentially, depending what stations you're listening to. And you may think to yourself, like, well, I don't want to hear this. This is low vibe. This is not low vibe. This is reality. Okay. So we're in a dualistic reality. And if you avoid low vibrational stuff because you don't want to see it, that's going to get you a total of 0 places in regards to expansion on these topics. And our collective needs the expansion so that energy will transmute so we can shift. So you need to not spiritually bypass, you need to dig in, you need to lean in, you need to figure this out. Take responsibility for your own education on these topics. Do not rely on the media, I promise you. So what's happening is the media is painting some pictures. We've got some people picking one side, some people picking the other. And if you look up the 10 stages of genocide, the very first stage is pitting people against each other, them versus us. And as you go down those stages of genocide, you will see the various stages that we are at in regards to the Gaza genocide, and how it is colonization. And do your research on this, okay? But if you are listening to just mainstream media, you can absolutely miss this, and there will be karmic implications if you miss this. And I'll explain why. So as this is going on, we have last night now occupation within Rafah. We've got murders going on there now, and a bunch of the people who were refugees who went to that land away from Gaza, they now are back under attack in a new city, right? Okay, so as that's happening, the United States is celebrating the Super Bowl. Okay. So I'm not shaming you if you celebrate the Super Bowl. I myself was guided not to. It does not align with my values. But let's go through the news articles together and see what America is talking about. Well, they're talking about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's love story, which I love. And I hope that they are in love and happy and all those things. I love that. They're talking about the game itself. They're talking about ads, the commercials, always a hit. The game, they're talking about Alicia Keys and Usher's performance. They're talking about all sorts of stuff. And here's Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce again. Okay. So we have within the United States a bunch of people talking about artists, entertainers, performers, celebrities, and then we've got football as a sport, and then commercials and ads. And within all of this, we have a lot of predictive programming, and there's a bunch of people decoding the Super Bowl and all of that stuff. So if you want to watch videos on that, I'm sure you can find it floating around to talk about like the ritual stuff that goes on at these events. But I'll be painting a picture here in a moment as to how this event, which has become traditionally popular, like it's a ritual that we celebrate within the United States, a good portion of people, as a tradition annually, okay? And it's something that even if you don't go to the game, you're still celebrating at home. And myself included, like for years, my friends and family, I would celebrate with them, right? So this was like the first year where I made a conscious choice to not participate, or maybe the second year. I can't remember what I did last year. Anyway, so, okay, so most people celebrate by watching from their house. And at their house, they like drink, eat, and be merry with friends and whoever else. Okay, cool. Meanwhile, while the common people are celebrating from their home, eating, drinking, and being merry, we have a bunch of very wealthy individuals who get to attend an event. And where is the event for this year? It was hosted in Las Vegas, Sin City. Okay. So not only are these individuals flying in for this event, this entertainment event, they also are flying into Las Vegas where they get to party, go to concerts, go to shows, go to fancy dinners, go to all these things, and spend large amounts of money in Sin City doing whatever it is that they do. I've been to Vegas a lot, so I could only imagine. And then in addition to that, they get to go to this game. And at this game, we have some of the wealthiest people in America, and I'm sure around the world. And the cheapest tickets, according to these variety of marketplaces, the absolute cheapest ones with fees, $7,189 according to this article. Okay. Some articles are saying that you could, like this one said, you could get a ticket from NFL for about $2,000, but that was after you paid to participate in a lottery system. So you have to pay to participate in the lottery system. And then if you get chosen out of the lottery system, then you pay about $2,000 for that ticket. Okay. And then when you get further down, it's talking about some of the lowest tickets, 6,500, some of the next lowest tickets, 8,600, 8,333, right? So we're looking at very large price tags for the average person to purchase those tickets. It's not really like possible, right? Oh, and I like this article. Let me show you this. This is also a chart or a graph that shows the prices for Super Bowl tickets since the initiation of Super Bowl, which was 1967, Super Bowl game. It was $90 a ticket back then. So people who were football fans who could actually attend a football game for one of their favorite teams who made it to a championship game, they could actually afford or work to afford to go to that game. And slowly but surely, it became something far different. It became a status symbol. It became something where people could go to flex how much money they have. It's pure ego. It's, I don't even care about this game potentially. I'm not even a fan of this team. And I'm here for some other reason. And everyone's reason is going to be different, right? So I can't comment on their reasons. But there's a lot of ego that goes into this entire event, because I can guarantee you a big chunk of the people who go, they aren't even fans of the teams. And so what does that do? It makes it to where real fans of those teams cannot even attend that game. They are forced to watch it from home, right? Which is fine. Like, I'm sure that they enjoy it too, but even if they wanted to save up, if they're the biggest Chiefs fan in the entire world and they wanted to save up for a Super Bowl ticket, they might not even be able to afford to go. All because it's become such a status symbol. There's so much ego involved in it at this point that it's created so much separation between groups of people, them and us. Oh, I'm not good enough to ever be able to go to a Super Bowl game. I could never afford that. I don't know anyone who could get me one of those tickets. I am not in the 1% upper echelon of humanity. So that's a dream. That's something that would never in a million years happen. And that's how a Chiefs fan could have been feeling last night, while a bunch of people get destroyed in Vegas and go to a game that maybe they don't even care to be at. They're just there so that they can get like publicity or show off their outfit or whatever, right? Just a thought. Meanwhile, as that's going on, we have protests going on around the world. And this is an article from yesterday. So we're actually on the 129th day of a genocide in Gaza. But we have protests around the world, according to this article: Germany, United States, Turkey, Morocco, Lebanon. Thousands of people are taking to the streets to express solidarity with Palestine, okay? And this is around the world. Why are we not seeing this on the news? Why is this not more widespread? What is being hidden from the United States? While the United States is talking about this adorable love story unfolding with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and the Super Bowl and commercials and performers, the rest of the world are taking to the streets out of solidarity for human rights, to fight for a ceasefire for the people of Gaza, for humanity, to stand up for all the people in Gaza who do not have internet access, they do not have cell phone service, they do not have food, they do not have water, they don't have medical aid, they're in a famine. Ready? From Gaza to Sudan, conflict is driving a rise in hunger worldwide. UK warns of risk of famine in Ethiopia. Famine looms in Sudan. Unprecedented levels of near famine-like conditions in Gaza. So I want to pause for a second. While this is all happening around the world, famines all around us, we have individuals within the United States who are at an elite National Football League game to celebrate, to party. But to me, that sounds a lot like pride. Pride is defined as reasonable self-esteem or confidence and satisfaction in oneself. Oxford defines it as the quality of having an excessively high opinion of oneself or one's own importance. Pride may be related to one's own abilities or achievements, positive characteristics of friends or family, or one's country. Okay? So when we're talking about the 7 deadly sins, one of them is pride. And we have a bunch of individuals who are celebrating achievements. They're celebrating status. They're celebrating something. They would all know. I haven't been. But whatever they're doing is pretty tone deaf to me. As we have many, many people around the world in a famine. So these people are eating, drinking, and being merry, getting fucked up in Vegas. Pardon my French, but not at all. While we have a famine going on around the world in a variety of places and genocides actively happening. If you don't think that that entire event is an Antichrist impulse manifestation, then you're wrong. Okay? So if you need more evidence, let's look. What are the other 7 deadly sins? Gluttony. What is gluttony? To gulp down or swallow means overindulgence and overconsumption of food or drink. It is considered a sin if the excessive desire for food leads to a lack of control over one's relation with food or harms the body. Okay, so what do Americans typically do on Super Bowl? Eat, drink, be merry, right? While the world has famines actively going on, the United States is celebrating the Super Bowl with overindulgence of food and drink. Business as usual. We do this every year, right? And there were tons of years where I participated. My point is, we're a little tone deaf right now. And it's freaking me out that people can't see this. And half of it is because the media is hiding it. And the other half is because people are too distracted to see. They don't want to see. They want life to just continue to be going on, right? That's not gonna work. So what's the next one? Let's look at greed. Greed. It's an insatiable desire for material gain. And like, think about all the people who attended that event. While we have genocides and famines going on, these people are at this event. And this is not me shaming them, by the way. This is me hoping that they all also donated to the variety of places that are actively needing aid during their famines. So if you can spend $5,000, $7,000 on a ticket or get it for free just because of who you know, if you can spend that type of money in order for you to go to an entertainment event, then I really, really hope you also donated to give people food and water and medical aid during the active genocides around the world and the famines that are also going on. If not, then that is greed. You're focused on, does it get more high, like social class, than to go to an event that no one else can afford? No, it is showing status and power. Social status, and power. Look at how dope I am. I got to go to this event. I'm not even a fan, but I got to go to this event. While we have famines and genocides going on, and all we are doing at this event is eating, drinking, and being merry while we watch dudes tackle each other, okay? Greed has been identified as undesirable throughout known human history because it creates behavior conflict between personal and social goals. Yes, social goals, meaning you think that other countries aren't watching the United States as we celebrate the Grammys, and then immediately after that, the Super Bowl, while there's children dying in genocides around the world, famines where people literally are eating grass. It's freaking crazy. And then sloth, one of the other 7 deadly sins that we're seeing a lot of right now. Definition. The word sloth is a translation of the Latin term acedia. I hope I'm saying that right. And means without care. And if you look at the definition of this, right down there, it says, not caring or not being considered with one's position or condition in the world. Unlike the other capital sins, sloth is a sin of omission, being a lack of desire and or performance. It may arise from any of the other capital vices. The next thing is traits of narcissism. We're not talking about like diagnosing a bunch of people with narcissistic personality disorder, which is a real thing. But everyone has the ability to have narcissistic characteristics. And sometimes that's just having awareness so that we can see areas that we need to have more empathy for others. Perhaps it's privilege. Perhaps it's whatever. So bringing awareness to it can help us expand in that way. So narcissism is characterized by a grandiose sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy for others, a need for excessive admiration, and the belief that one is unique and deserving of special treatment. If you encounter someone who consistently exhibits these behaviors, you may be dealing with a highly narcissistic individual. Okay? So we have an entire event focused on elitism, focused on separation, focused on multiple events, actually, like the Grammys, the Super Bowl. All of these events are literally designed in a way where there's specific people who can attend and specific people who just like cannot. And then the craziest part is at these events, they showcase what's happening for all of us to see, right? So it's this narcissistic energy where they have a grandiose sense of self-importance and a excessive need for admiration. The belief that one is unique and deserving of special treatment. Okay? These events are then produced for the common people to watch and entertain themselves with. It creates separation, and that separation then creates hostility between the two sides of the collective. And what it also does is it demonstrates to common people, a lot of them, that in order for them to feel important or something, they need to seek that level of fame or that level of admiration or whatever. And that's very damaging to people's self-esteem. It creates insecurity that doesn't even need to be there, simply because you're showcasing things to people that they're less than. You're not enough. You're not good enough to be here. You're not even invited here. You can't even afford to attend these events if you wanted to, potentially, right? So within the United States, we have a massive issue with entertainment and Hollywood and all of that, because these events that our society idolizes, these events that our society uses as entertainment, are actually very harmful to the psyche of our collective, because it creates separation, it creates insecurity, it creates elitism. And it creates this narcissistic characteristic where people think they are better than others. And then on the flip side, it makes the other people feel like those people are they're idols. They're idols to look up to. When the reality is, the real idols to look up to are anyone who are showing up in love, showing up in charity, showing up in honesty and truth. There are definitely celebrities, musicians, performers, whatever, who are using their voice, speaking their truth, and leveraging their influence for good right now, not only just about Palestine, but about all sorts of humanitarian movements. And it's because they themselves believe in those movements and they're using it to spread the wisdom, use their voice for good. When we think about how anyone could help over in Palestine right now, if you can help by donating money, then please do. They need food, they need water, they need basic necessities, and they need medical attention. If you can't afford to donate your money, then your own energy is also a form of currency. Speaking on it, sharing about it, talking about it, educating yourself, and using social media as a way to promote whatever it is you believe. You don't have to believe what I believe. But whatever it is you do believe, use your voice. That is your power. And right now, we really need people who are not lost in la la land. We need leaders. We need actual leaders who are going to make a difference, solving the real problems on our planet, not pretending they don't exist, not distracting ourselves while there's genocides and famines going on, but we're going to just sit here in our ivory tower in Sin City and do whatever it is that we do because we have no problems. It's not in our backyard, so it's not our problem. That is narcissistic behavior. That is a grandiose sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy for others, and a need for excessive admiration, the belief that they are unique and deserving of special treatment. And not only do they deserve it, but they are getting it. They're so disconnected from reality that they have lost touch with humanity, which is why some of them are building bunkers because they know something that other people don't, and they want to protect themselves from the general population with what's to come. And I'll tell you what, not all of them are like this. But events like that are not positive for our collective psyche. It's all about capitalism. It's all about ego. It's all about separation consciousness. It's brands, advertisements, commercials. It's like the whole thing is a matrix. And none of it, it's like so tone deaf. The amount of money spent on those commercials, the amount of money spent by people sitting at home watching the Super Bowl on junk food and alcohol and candy and whatever. The reality is, while other people are operating out of gluttony, the excessive consumption of food and drink as they celebrate this traditional event that the US loves. We have famines going on. And I'm telling you that is sin. And I'm telling you that that creates karma. And as we sit there and navigate into the United States Pluto return, Pluto reveals corruption. Pluto reveals the shadow. Pluto reveals where you are out of integrity. And I think the United States has gotten really lost. And our collective is out of integrity. And we've all been there. because it's very easy to get lost here. But we need to get back on track. This is not a game. And that game was the perfect depiction of this year is the turning point. There's not tons of Super Bowl games where a very public genocide is happening. But we're having a Super Bowl where no one's really like mourning. We have people getting killed and they can't eat and they can't drink and they can't find medical attention. They don't have homes anymore. There's women delivering children on the street. And then we have people in their ivory tower in Las Vegas doing whatever. And if they all are doing that while not paying attention, then they all have karma coming. Fact. So it's about to get real bumpy up ahead for people who are not participating in humanity. And I want our collective to be aware of ways where we can transmute that shadow, because we can't control them. They're going to do whatever the heck they want, and their own lessons are going to be a part of that. But for those of us who do care, and for those of us who do see it and do want to do better and want to love and support each other and come together to solve this, then we need to ensure that we are embodying love. We are embodying and integrating, spiritually integrating the virtues, right? Charity, humility, kindness, temperance. And at the very least, it's safe to say our world leaders are lost. Our world leaders are not operating out of love, most of them. They're not operating out of solutions. They're not operating out of anything that even remotely seems like God. It seems like we have world leaders on the Antichrist impulse. We have the elite people on the Antichrist impulse. We have the performers and others, entertainers on the Antichrist impulse, operating out of gluttony, pride, greed, sloth, the lack of action, the omission of action, the gluttony, all of this, right? And we all have our moments. So this is not to shame human beings. What this is to wake us up. We have to wake up. This is not a game. I love this quote. One of you guys commented on one of my other videos with it, and it just is so real. It's Pema Chodron. Hopefully I pronounced that right. She's a Buddhist spiritual teacher. And she said, the idea of karma is that you continually get the teaching that you need to open your heart. And I think that is very real and very important to remember, because what is happening right now is a lack of empathy and a lack of heart connection to one another in a variety of ways. And so by us having that awareness, we can change our behavior and do better. But by us pretending that nothing's wrong with our collective, with our society, with these events, that's us hiding from the shadow. And then we are calling in events that will teach us how to open our heart in the ways that we need our heart opened. So we get to either choose, do we want to open our hearts proactively, or do we want to manifest the teachings that are going to open our hearts in the ways that we need to, which are obvious? It's up to us. And so I'm hoping that by us at least having this awareness, we can help shift that energy by being the change ourselves and doing better ourselves in every now moment in order for the collective to be a demonstration ourselves, embody that, integrate that into our everyday embodiment in order for the collective to also participate, to help shift this energy and then save lives as well. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. Please, however it is that you can energetically exchange in regards to what's going on our planet, that is how you integrate, that is how you ground in your learnings, your lessons. Even if it's not through these situations I'm talking about, like the genocides and the famines, I think those are incredibly important. But just in your daily life, on your spiritual journey, you are tested on generosity, charity. You're tested on gluttony. You're tested on pride. You're tested on all these things. And so just keep that in the back of your mind, because there's a lot of people who are not right now. So just chew on that, reflect on that. Okay, love you guys. Bye-bye.